Hello students, welcome to the lecture on meetings, and after the lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Explain the definition of meeting, define the kinds of meeting, explain the meeting objectives, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of meeting, describe meeting agenda and meeting planning, explain about meeting preparation, understand the meeting participants' roles and responsibilities, discuss the conducting the effective meeting. Let us first start with a brief introduction to meetings. Meetings are a primary process for organizational life. In fact, for many people, attending meetings is what they do during most of the time they spend in the organizational setting. So, it is essential that time spent in meetings be productive if we are to achieve effective individual and organizational performance. It has been developed to help us think carefully about the meetings attend and perhaps lead. A business meeting is all about the exchange of ideas, whether it is a sale pitch or a development meeting with staff, and nothing's more essential to swapping ideas with colleagues than strong communication skills. Communicating in a meeting is not the same as one-on-one communication. So, business owners must recognize the differences and adapt their communication style to be more effective in meetings. First, it is important to think in terms of different kinds of meetings with different kinds of participants and different purposes. Different types of meeting calls for different arrangements, time schedules, participants, expectations, follow-through, and so forth. Some different types of meetings that organization leaders put together include these. Quick business meetings, just to check in, coordinate, share info, prepare for next steps, anticipate customer or employee needs, answer questions for each other, etc. Stand-up meetings, no more than 10 minutes to plan the day, make announcements, set expectations, assure understanding and alignment, identify upcoming difficulties, etc. Business meetings with customers, clients, colleagues, etc. often require presentations. Staff meetings to clear calendars, coordinate unit activities, share info, etc. Management team meetings to solve problems, make decisions, set policy, etc. Interdepartmental meetings to get input, interpret decisions and policies, share info, etc. Coordinating meetings to assure all know what is happening, when and who is responsible. Board meetings to report results, set policies and directions, scan for needed changes, etc. Team building meetings to communicate together, resolve conflicts, share impressions and feelings, gain alignment and commitment to goals, strengthen relationship, clear out debris from disputes, develop or deepen interpersonal trust, etc. Project team meetings to define results, methods, schedules, responsibilities, policies, etc. Creative product development meetings to define new markets, create new products, etc. Community meetings to interpret decisions, get input, build relationships, gain trust, etc. Conferences and retreats to share information, work through strategies and tactics, involve people, set long-range directions, work in subgroups as well as in total group, etc. Second, when planning different types of meeting, the three key questions must be clarified. Who will participate? The people in the room are the most powerful influence on what happens in a meeting. Each person brings resources, ideas, connections, biases and an agenda, sometimes overt, sometimes hidden. We need to think about all those factors will interact during the meeting and what the impact of those interaction will be on the other participants and on the meeting itself. Will there be constructive energy available to get on with the work of the meeting? Will there be explosive energy in the room that must be handled cautiously? Will some participants resent others being present, and so on. What purposes will they and you want to have achieved when the meeting is over? Once we are clear about who will be in the room, we need to plan meeting agenda. What outcomes can reasonably be achieved with the people present and time you have available? Publicly specify only the results that you are confident you can accomplish, even if more limited purposes mean you might have to have another meeting. It is better to build on success than to have to recover from failure. What do you want to have happen after the meeting that will be helped by having the meeting? After the basic plans for the meeting are tentatively set, look through the meeting to the hours and days immediately beyond the event. Ask yourself, what will be or must be different after the meeting is over to enable us to achieve purposes and goals. Once you are clear about the future situation you want the meeting to have achieved, go back and review your tentative meetings plans to make sure that you have used the meeting to maximum advantage. Let us now discuss the definition of meeting. Formal or informal deliberative assembly of individuals called to debate certain issues and problems and to take decisions. Formal meetings are held at definite times, at a definite place and usually for a definite duration to follow an agreed upon agenda. In a corporate setting, they are divided into two main groups. First, organizational meeting. Normally a regular meeting involving stockholders, that is shareholders, and management such as a board meeting and annual general meeting. Second, operational meeting. Regular or ad hoc meeting involving management and employees such as a committee meeting, planning meeting, and sales meeting. A meeting is typically headed by a chairperson and its deliberations are recorded in a written form called minutes. Under corporate legislation, two main types of meetings are general meetings and special or extraordinary meetings. Such meetings must have a minimum number of members called quorum present to make the legally operative decisions called resolution are made on the basis of number of votes the assenting and dissenting parties can muster. Under the doctrine of collective responsibility, decisions taken at these meetings bind all members whether present or not. However, a dissenting minority may apply to a court to have an already adopted resolution set aside if it is deemed illegal, iniquitous or ultra vires. Moving on further, let us discuss the kind of meetings. Meetings can be either productive or even can be a time waste. But if we adopt some simple ways to improve ourselves, then we can surely improve our meeting management technique and skill. Formal meetings. Here are some things that will guide us to conduct successful meetings. This can be of great use as it will let us know how to think and in which way so that we can produce good results. There are few guidelines which we need to follow. First, always be aware of the meeting schedule. It should not be such a case that we enter a meeting without knowing the agenda of the meeting. We should be totally prepared. Second, always the meeting should have only one cause. When there are many things, the pupil get confused and outcomes are not clear and hence cannot meet the needs of the organization. Third, only the necessary people should attend the meeting. Fourth, meeting should end on a particular time. When meeting ends in a time, we can gain points in our rating for meetings. Fifth, the meeting should be carried out with a plan. In a meeting, the plan should be discussed which was decided earlier. Use these guidelines in next meetings. Thus, you can be someone who can understand the ethics and dynamics of a meeting. We will save time and effort if we approach meeting with a good feeling and a positive attitude. Here are some guidelines that we need to remember. The process at the meeting is always slow and hence we should be patient because it may take time. People value time, hence never is late for the meeting. Avoid personal confrontation. Be a good listener. Let speakers speak. Just listen calmly. Informal meetings. These meetings are quite relaxing and may not take place in the office. But then too good business etiquette is required. There are 7 points to be considered while informal meetings. The person calling the meeting should be the senior most people in the meeting. Punctuality is must. Never keep people waiting. Always be on time. The purpose of the meeting should be clear by the chair. The chair should be decided the time, place and the agenda. All should agree to it. The meeting should be kept short and as effective as possible and should be set within a framework. The chair appoints someone to record, document the major decisions or the action points. The result of the meeting should have an effect on the other. We shall now discuss the meeting objectives. Members of a company discuss organizational issues and other agenda through a personal gathering or through a conference call. A meeting is a routine activity in a company. It is even part of the weekly itinerary of many working individuals and business people. Meetings can be formal or informal, but for the most part, organizational meetings usually take a formal setting where preparation must be done to properly plan and execute the meeting. Meeting categories by structure. Meeting can be classified into many different categories according to its nature and structure. A meeting that is leaded and is done through a one-way communication reporting is called a status meeting. A conference that generates an intangible or abstract result such as a decision is termed as a working meeting. A staff meeting is that which the team members or junior employees discuss certain agenda with the manager or the immediate superior. A gathering among colleagues in a team project is a team meeting. If members are gathered together for a special purpose, it is called an ad hoc meeting. A good example of ad hoc meeting is a team of individuals chosen by the company to join a trade show and represent the company, so a meeting is needed to discuss the important things and activities during the event. A conference among managers and supervisors is called a management meeting. If the meeting participants are solely board and directors, members of the organization, definitely it is termed as board meeting. A meeting is not necessarily composed of a group of individuals. Even a discussion of two individuals can also be considered a meeting. This is called a one-on-one meeting. Now, types of meeting according to the purpose. Meeting can also be categorized according to its purpose or intention. Meeting participants who aim to alter a situation or attack an organizational problem and concern take on a problem-solving meeting. Decision-making meetings are conducted to generate or make a final and unanimous decision about an issue. If certain structuring and future resolution need to be made, a planning meeting can be called. When there is a need to make a status report and present new information, participants gather for a feed-forward meeting. It is otherwise known as reporting and presenting. Feedback meetings are conducted when the purpose is to let individuals provide reactions and feedback to one or several participants on a certain presentation or project. The last type of meeting according to the objective is called combination meeting, wherein two or more of the meeting categories are applied in a single meeting session. There are various advantages and disadvantages of meeting. Advantages of meeting. A face-to-face discussion of organizational topics and issues can be conducted in various methods. In this modern day and age, individuals conveniently communicate through emailing and conference calls, which limit the ability of people to express ideas only through the power of words. However, traditional meetings allow individuals to facilitate discussion and interaction in a face-to-face manner, allowing the participant to express their opinions freely with the help of non-verbal communication. Meetings build good working relationship. A meeting is a gathering of individuals with diverse opinions which are ready to be shared and discussed. Meeting participants may or may not have similar interests and personalities, but individuals are bonded together in a meeting. Meeting boosts individual morale. Attending meeting is a good chance for a person to practice good and open communication with others. Some individuals have brilliant ideas but find it hard to easily express them verbally for fear of not getting appreciated and recognized. Meeting enhance team building. When one works in an office where people are so busy they barely find time to get together to catch up with each other, holding meetings can be considered a team building or a socialization activity. Despite its serious atmosphere in nature, meeting can be turned into a fun gathering among individuals. One way of doing this is to find a venue that invites a good break from the office environment, such as a fancy restaurant. Although organizing meetings at work is essential in attaining a specific purpose and achieving goals, there are also disadvantages and drawbacks in a meeting. A meeting would turn out to be ineffective if the organizer failed to properly facilitate the session and if the meeting agenda is not observed. Basically, these are the two major outcomes of an unsuccessful meeting. There are many factors and other adverse effects that may occur in a poorly facilitated meeting. Common problems with meetings. What common problems have you encountered so far in a meeting attendance? In a meeting, there is a possibility that participants go off in a different direction at the same time, and this situation is called multi-headed animal syndrome. Confusion between the meeting process and the content also happens. Participants are uncertain whether the focus is on how to discuss the agenda items or what key points to discuss. Some members experience traffic problems wherein they encounter difficulty in getting into the conversation and having a chance to participate. Personality control. The nice thing about a face-to-face meeting is that every member sees the person they are interacting with. However, the challenge is meeting problematic people. Not everyone is participative in meetings, although this is ideally what we want to happen. People with problematic personalities may contribute to an ineffective meeting. Alright, now we shall talk about the meeting agenda. Aside from having an effective facilitator and active participants, effective meeting agenda is also a key factor. A meeting agenda is a structured outline that highlights the flow of the entire meeting process. It is a meeting framework that keeps the participants in control and focused on the subject matter or topic at hand instead of getting off the track. In other words, it provides a meaningful purpose and direction to any type of meeting. A meeting agenda has to be creative and effective in order to make the meeting a productive one. The facilitator or meeting organizer must prepare a well-constructed agenda by knowing its components and the steps in writing an effective agenda. Components of a meeting agenda. When sending out a meeting request or invitation, an organizer must not fail to also provide the intended participants with the meeting agenda. The purpose of this is to give them ample time to prepare for the meeting and know the topics or the subject matter for the discussion. Through this, they can do some research or outline their ideas based on what is written on the agenda. A meeting agenda should consist of the name of the attendees, meeting dates, start time as well as the end time, and the meeting location or venue. More importantly, it should indicate the title of the meeting, the topic headings for the discussion, and the meeting objectives. Steps in making an effective meeting agenda. The meeting agenda has to be effective, otherwise it will mess up the course of the meeting. In order to produce an organized and successful meeting, how do we create a well-written agenda? It must be prepared in advance with careful consideration of the details that we need to indicate on our agenda. Considering the components listed above, first indicate the date, time and the meeting title on the agenda template. Gather the topics that are up for the discussion during the meeting and itemize them on the outline. Specify the time allocation for each topic and discussion leaders. If there is a need to provide a space for any additional items or questions that the members will possibly raise before the start of the meeting. Agenda for a formal meeting includes options such as apologies for absence, approval of the minutes from previous meeting, and the matter arise. Now, in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. A business meeting is all about the exchange of ideas, whether it is a sale pitch or a development meeting with staff, and nothing more essential to swapping ideas with colleagues than strong communication skills. Formal or informal deliberative assembly of individuals called to debate certain issues and problems and to make decisions. Members of a company discuss organizational issues and other agenda through a personal gathering or through a conference call. Traditional meetings allow individuals to facilitate discussion and interaction in a face-to-face manner, allowing the participants to express their opinions freely with the help of nonverbal communication. The minute taker helps in the wrapping up of the meeting proper with the gathered notes from the participants' ideas. A good and strategic planning contribute to an effective and productive meeting output, since desirable results start with good planning anyway.